All right.
Hey guys, so we wanted to take just a second here and talk a little bit about one of the highlights that we took away from our interview with Brandi and Dawn that we posted on Monday. And that was really, we asked them about how they set goals. It seems like anytime you get advice on starting a new business, that's the first place that planners go to is, oh, you got to set the 30-day goals and your 90-day goals and your 6-month goals and your year goals. And it's a really good idea, and I don't want to take away from that. We definitely think that's important to have an overall idea. But what was really frustrating for us was that, we set out to open a chiropractic office and build a successful practice in a town that we had never lived in before. We didn't know anybody there. And so it was really hard for us to set those goals because I had never built a practice before, and Erica had never built a practice before. So we didn't really know what those goals look like. And when you open up a fresh planner, doesn't matter where you get it from, it just has 30-day goals. And you're like, well, where do we go from here?
Treat patients.
So I know for me that was really frustrating.
So in that interview with Brandi and Dawn, when we asked them that question, because again, that was something that we thought, well, if we are kind of the guide that we're trying to use from multiple different sources and people and mentors, it seems like we need to have, goals, 30-day goals, 60-day goals, whatever. So when we asked Brandi and Dawn, who are business owners, that same question, we were, pleasantly surprised that their answer was that they don't do that. they are more project-based. And she did make it a point where, she said in the beginning that they did, because I'm sure like us, they were like, okay, what do? We just need to get this business up and running. But she said until their business became this well-oiled machine that just started producing results, and then they could be more focused on projects, that was their mindset as well. But now they have a much smoother process, and I think it's probably more enjoyable doing it project-based, which now, even though we're still pretty early out in our business, we're doing the same thing.
Yeah, it's really just been kind of a natural transition for us. And we are hitting the first of the year. And so, there's still a lot of things that are really up in the air, and we're having to kind of juggle as we go. Mm-hmm. But we have kind of noticed ourselves kind of transitioning to this without really intentionally doing it. And now that we've kind of noticed that and kind of talked about what we learned from Dawn and Brandi there, with the project base idea as opposed to planning, or as opposed to like a goal setting, where the goal is you're really looking at that end target, and you can't always control what that end target is, or where you're going to land on that, because there's so many outside influences that can affect that. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't have a target to shoot for. If you don't know where you're going, then you're never going to get there. But at the same time, we are, as we said, we're starting to notice that we're transitioning kind of to projects, especially now that we have the Better Business and Marriage website and all that going on. It's kind of a separate project. It complements what we're doing as well, because we are learning more about businesses. But, so what we started doing for this year is that first thing in the week we have a meeting, which is just the two of us. But it's a really intentional time for us to sit down and talk about what's going on with the business, and it sets us up to go through that week of knowing what we're working on and kind of that project. And then when we get to the end of the week, then we sit down and we have another meeting that actually focuses on Better Business and Marriage, and that way we can kind of change gears just a little bit. Obviously, there's a lot of bleed over between the two, but that's kind of how we're separating those two projects. Then, of course, we have several different things that we're doing on our own as well, but those are our two projects going on right now. And we've noticed that by focusing on that, it's helping us to actually work on what's actually going on there, instead of looking at this end goal down the road that, we want to get there, but putting a lot of focus into something that we can't control. We can control what we're doing today, and what we're planning to do over the next few days. We can control that, but we can't necessarily control what's going to happen a year from now. So it's good to know where we're heading, but we don't have to be stuck on that. We should focus on now.
Yeah. And so one of my favorite things that Brandi said in that was that the only outcome you can control is the input that you put into it or towards it. So the only outcome that we can control as business owners is the input and the hustle and everything that we put into it, just like what you just said, just in Brandi terms. So.
So anyway, so that's kind of our thoughts and kind of one of the takeaways that we took out of that. We'd love to hear if you guys have some other thoughts, something that you agree with, something you disagree with, how you guys are doing it, what's been successful for you. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah.
But I think that'll be about it for now until the next time.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for listening to us.